Hey guys, welcome back here to Advanced Bass Fishing, and really appreciate you guys hanging out with me a little bit and checking the video out. And guys, today we're going to be talking about something we've touched on in the past a little bit. I want to really reiterate and get into some finer points. I want to talk about the difference between using a straight shank hook, or an EWG hook here. You got two different styles. You got this is the straight shank, then you got the old offset or the EWG style. You can see right here. And there's a time and place for both of these. And I sort of want to go over my opinion of it. Everybody's got their own opinion, but I want to talk a little bit about what bait or what hook has been better for me as far as hooking the fish and getting the bites and rigging the bait. So we're going to dig into that in today's episode here. And also guys, we're going to be talking about Gamakatsu hooks here, the new nano-coated G Finesse style hooks, the best hook you can buy right here. I'll put the Gamakatsu link in the description of this video if you guys would like to order some of these hooks after the video there. Much appreciated with that. And also guys, thank you very much for everybody that has taken time to subscribe and like. So subscribe here to Advanced Bass Fishing and like and hype the videos. Really appreciate that. Okay, a lot of you guys that have followed me on the channel a lot, you know that I prefer the straight shank hook over the EWG for most part. It used to be the other way too. I used to use an EWG primarily, and I started noticing that I was simply losing more fish than a lot of other people, and I started going to a straight shank hook probably about 15-20 years ago, and my land ratio definitely improved. I probably land, I'm gonna guess 20-25% more bass, the ones I have hooked by going to a straight shank. So I want to talk a little bit about it and speak to a little bit about why I do that and how I rig them, and then when I do use the EWGs. Okay, now the EWGs, one of the things about them is they're very user-friendly. That's why a lot of people like them. The offset part of the hook here makes it stay in the bait a lot easier than a straight shank, easy to rig, and the times that I do use an EWG is when I want the bait to fall at a flat angle. In other words, take this Z-craw right here. See, this is a flat bait. Now, a lot of times, and I do use a straight shank on this for flipping sometimes, but a lot of times, if I want the presentation, and let me sort of show you what it looks like here, of having the bait fall at a really precise flat angle straight down like that, sometimes the keel of the EWG in line with the bait makes the bait fall like that a little bit easier. It makes it glide a little bit. So in some cases, I will use the EWG in that situation. And other cases, like say for example, like a tube, you can't really fish a straight shank hook on a tube simply because the tube's hollow. And then sometimes I will use the EWG on like a horny toad or something like that. But another time that I use it, and this is sort of like something hard to explain, for some reason at certain times of the year, just based upon the way the fish are biting, I will lose fish on the straight shank hook if I'm flipping and pitching. Not very often, but occasionally I do that, and sometimes I will switch to the EWG if I am losing them on the straight shank hook for some reason, which isn't very often. A lot of the times I have found that that when I lose fish on the straight shank hook, sometimes the fish are in a little bit heavier cover, but that's just something that I do out of desperation. For example, I was fishing about 3 weeks ago a tournament up at Lake of the Ozarks, and I was flipping the Z-Hog, the Zoom Z-Hog, which is just like this but without the curly tails on it, and I had a straight shank 3/0 hook in there, which I hardly never lose fish on it, and for whatever reason, I don't know, I can't really even explain why, I just could not keep them on. I was losing a bunch of fish on that straight shank, and I don't know if it was the position of the bait in the fish's mouth when I was setting the hook, or the angle of the hook set, or whatever, but I switched to the EWG and I started landing a few more fish, which I know it sounds confusing because I'm telling you that I like the straight shank and land more, but sometimes for whatever reason it happens. So that is the reason why I carry both of them in the boat there. Okay, now the straight shank is a little bit different here. Straight shank is the one that I use primarily, and I want to show you guys how I rig this with my worms. First of all, let me show you how not to rig this bait. You don't want to come through like this and just rig it straight back in the middle like that in your worm. Basically, it is way too weedless right here, way too weedless. What you want to do is you want to come through the side and just skin hook it. I've talked about this before, but see how I've noticed that it's skin hooked there? The worm is still perfectly straight. It's perfectly weedless. You can fish it in heavy cover, but when you get the strike, it just breaks free. Now, this is what I'm talking about. It takes a little bit of a learning curve, because sometimes if you don't get your hook keeper in right, the worm will slide down. And sometimes if you don't hook it just right on a skin hook, the worm will be crooked. But it's just a matter of just practicing with it a little bit. But once you get down, guys, you will want to always skin hook it. Your hook land ratio will go through the roof. Now, if I'm not fishing a worm, if I am fishing a creature bait and I do want a straight shank, I don't do it like that, because let me show you why. If you try to fish a straight shank hook and you try to hook it in the side like that, the bait is going to fall crooked. It's going to fall off to the side. It's going to fall off to the side a little bit. So in a situation like that, I will come all the way through the bait with the hook point out, and then I hook it back in there. And this is how primarily I like to flip and pitch. Straight shank, rigged it all the way through. This is my primary flipping and pitching setup there. So anyway, guys, I know I hear a lot of people say that I have no problem with an EWG. If you don't have any problem with it, just stay with an EWG. I'm not trying to force you into a straight shank. I just know from my own fishing, that is the determination I make. Unless I start losing them on a straight shank hook, which isn't very often, I like to go to a straight shank hook. It just seems like to me I catch more of the bites that hit. So anyway, guys, hope it helps out. We'll talk later. See you.